Okay, so let's talk about those people. You know the ones I'm talking about. The people who seem to be powered by some kind of different engine than the rest of us. They're just so driven, so focused, they just get things done. What is going on there? Well, today, we're going to unpack one of the 4 classical temperaments that just might hold the answer: the choleric.
I mean, have you ever just looked at someone and wondered why they seem to literally bulldoze through any obstacle that gets in their way, while most people try to find a way around? Yeah, that's not just a personality quirk, it's often a sign of a very specific, inborn temperament. And by the end of this, you're going to have a practical field guide for understanding these people, and maybe, more importantly, how to actually work with them.
So what even is a choleric? The best way to picture it is this. Imagine someone who sees a goal and they move toward it in a perfectly straight line. They don't go around obstacles, they don't try to avoid them, nope, they go straight through them. And that, right there, is the fundamental operating system we are going to explore.
At their very core, cholerics have these 2, let's call them non-negotiable DNA markers. First up, their goal-driven focus. I mean, these are the ultimate achievers. They lock onto a target with total tunnel vision. The downside? Well, that straight-line path often runs right over the people who happen to be in their way. And second, their absolute certainty. Once a choleric is convinced they are right about something, you can bring all the contradictory evidence you want. It won't matter. It makes him incredibly powerful for sure, but also unbelievably stubborn.
But here's where things get a little more complicated, and honestly, way more realistic. Because people aren't just one thing, right? It's the blend of temperaments that really tells you how someone is going to show up in the world. So let's see how these blends create a much fuller picture.
And here is the big twist. This is the one thing you absolutely have to get. Ready? Pure cholerics do not exist. Just when you think you have them all figured out, you realize everyone is a mix, a blend of their main temperament and a secondary one. And that secondary trait, oh yeah, it changes everything.
A really great way to think about this is like mixing paint. The choleric is that bold primary red. But you almost never see pure red in the real world, do you? It's always red-orange or red-violet, or maybe a red-brown. That secondary temperament, that's what creates the final unique shade of a person's personality.
All right, so that brings us to the real heart of our little field guide here. We're going to break down the 3 main chaotic blends. And this isn't just theory, okay? This is a practical user manual for the driven people in your life, whether that's at work, at home, or, even when you're looking in the mirror.
First up, we've got the choleric sanguine, or as our source material so perfectly calls them, the driver with a heart. This is absolutely the warmest, most sociable of all the choleric types. It's where that relentless drive gets a little bit softened by a sanguine's naturally social, fun-loving nature.
So how do you spot one of these in the wild? Well, look for the person who has about a dozen really ambitious projects going on, and most of them are half finished. They've got the ambition of a race car driver for sure, but because of that disorganized sanguine side, they don't really have a map. And when things don't work out, they usually blame others. Yeah, they might see people as a way to get things done, but hey, at least they'll consider your feelings while they're using you.
So here's your playbook. The key is to just adapt your style. If you're a super detail-oriented melancholy, you can be a huge help by providing the structure they're missing, but you gotta hold back on the criticism. If you're a more laid-back phlegmatic, you're gonna have to learn to stand up for yourself so you don't get steamrolled. And if you're also a choleric, forget manipulation. Just find common goals and negotiate like you're equals.
Our second blend is the choleric phlegmatic. And this one's a fascinating contradiction. You've got the hard-driving choleric mixed with the peace-loving, totally chill phlegmatic. The key insight here: they work hard specifically so they can rest hard. Their drive isn't for the achievement itself. It's a tool they use to get to a state of peace and quiet. You can spot this blend by their really distinct rhythm. Periods of intense, super high-quality work, followed by periods where they just seem to go limp. They seem easygoing on the surface, but that hard choleric edge is still there, and man, it can pop out in an unexpectedly cutting remark. Their entire motivation is about removing any obstacle that stands between them and their downtime. So how do you navigate this blend? Well, if you're another choleric, just know they won't fight you head-on, but they will absolutely get passive-aggressive if you push them too hard. For pretty much everyone else, the secret is just to remember their ultimate goal is peace. Don't take their quietness personally, just work with their desire for calm, not against it.
And now, for our final blend, the choleric melancholy. I really want you to pay close attention here, because this is, without a doubt, the most formidable and, frankly, the most difficult blend to deal with. It combines that raw choleric drive with a melancholy's deep analytical brain. The source material doesn't pull any punches. It even uses the word ruthless to describe it.
This combination is just so powerful because it pairs that unstoppable choleric drive with the deep, analytical planning of a melancholy. I mean, they can dream big and actually execute flawlessly. But it's also dangerous. The negative traits can combine into this kind of slash-and-burn mentality, where they just move forward with anger, impatience, and harsh criticism for anyone in their way. Oh, and they hold grudges. Long, detailed grudges.
But what's really going on inside their head? This quote, and it comes directly from counseling sessions mentioned in the source material, is so revealing. More than one choleric melancholy has actually admitted, "I don't like myself." And it's because they're living in this state of epic internal conflict. The analytical melancholy part of them wants to be careful and take its time, while the impulsive choleric part is screaming, "Just get it done already." This internal war creates a ton of turmoil that often spills out onto other people.
So, what's the strategy for dealing with this formidable force? Well, trying to out-argue them is a losing battle. Trust me, they've already done the analysis. The best approach is to be direct, organized, and brief. Now, interestingly, if you happen to be an analytical melancholy yourself, you're actually uniquely equipped to hold your own. You might even earn their respect. For everyone else, the most important thing is to protect your own self-image and not take their harsh criticism to heart.
Okay, phew, we've covered a lot of ground. We've defined the core choleric and we've explored the 3 key blends. So now let's pull all of this together into a practical action plan that you can start using like today.
Before you do anything, you got to remember these 3 things. Number 1, you cannot change their inborn temperament. It is how they are wired, period. Number 2, personality is their temperament plus all their life experiences. So not every choleric melancholy, for example, is going to be identical. And number 3, these are tendencies, not destiny. Think of them as likelihoods, not as carved-in-stone certainties.
All right, here's your simple 3-step plan. First, just identify the cholerics in your life. Look for that straight-line, goal-at-all-costs behavior. Second, figure out their blend. Are they scattered? That suggests sanguine. Do they just want peace and quiet? That points to phlegmatic. Are they supercritical? Probably melancholy. And finally, just use the guides we talked about to adjust your own approach. It's that simple. Look, in the end, understanding temperament isn't about slapping labels on people or putting them in boxes. It's about recognizing the unique operating system each person is running on so you can set better boundaries and work with their strengths. So we're left with this final question. It's not, why are they like that? The real question is, now that you understand how they're wired, what will you do with that knowledge?